meet you. And I gotta say, man, for someone who has been a Juno Award winner and so many other awards, I would never think that you and I would be doing an interview in South Africa for an amazing event that's going on here, man. First, you got to let folks know, where are we exactly? What are we sitting in front of here?
Well, this is the Soweto Theatre, which is kind of a jewel in the chain of cultural centers here in South Africa. And well, this is my first time down here, so I don't really know what to expect. But as soon as we pulled up to it, we were really impressed, and it's just a great place to be. First of all, the people are really nice here. I got to admit that, and it's going to be a great experience. I haven't been able to report much on it yet because I've only been here a day. So.
Well, look, man, I'm kind of feeling the same way too. I've only been here for about 2 days, but everything I've seen has just been amazing. How do you feel when you think about this, being here? You and I talking here, that your music was able to bring you in this part of the world.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. You know, years ago when MP3 became a viable thing, that just made music travel around the world so much quicker and reach so many people. The internet became so viable for so many people. Years ago, I had an album released down here in South Africa, but nothing much came of it. But now everybody has access to every country in the world, and all it really takes is something to click for somebody to take notice. Because I look at my Spotify plays and stuff, and I've got high lists from all over the world, so people hear that stuff, and that's just what leads to live performances.
Well, look, we got to get into how this whole love of music began, because I see the instruments in front of me. Where did this all begin? And as much as I want to say, yes, you are an honorary Canadian, born originally somewhere else.
Well, I'm a Canadian citizen.
Good enough.
Oh yeah, most of my life I lived in Canada. I was born in Colorado. Music started for me in third grade. I picked up the trumpet, and back then they had like had elementary school bands and stuff. And in the summer, they would take all the elementary schools and combine them and make one giant band. So, and that first summer, we recorded an album. It was one of those ones where you to raise money for the band trips and that kind of thing. But we recorded an album, and I was on the cover, believe it or not. I took a picture of the band. I'm right on the cover, and I mean, the music was nothing to write home about, but there I was at 8 years old, and that was the die was cast right there. I kept playing music. I've been a musician my whole life, full time.
What kind of style did you grow to love? Like, what did you transfer from? Did you go from one style to another to another?
Well, as I was mentioning to you earlier, I was one of the original members in Powder Blues, so I'm really very well versed in blues and that kind of genre, which is not that far from jazz, to be honest. But when I remember years ago, my first record collection was one of those Columbia record things. You know, you buy one and you get it free. So I was pretty diverse back then. I remember I had Sergio Mendes, Brazil '66. I had Herb Alpert. I had Best of Blue Note, 1955.
Oh man!
I had Duke Ellington Big Band one, and a Jefferson Airplane album.
Wow!
So my tastes were kind of all over the map, sort of, but it always skewed towards horns and that kind of stuff.
Well, you did mention again about a certain group that you've been with. Okay, talk about the times and how you guys got together and what was the experience like. I know we were in the Red Room, we could call it that, and you kind of mentioned some of the things that you were going through, which sounded like it was great. Talk a little bit about that. Of course, the name of the group and how you guys got together.
Are you talking about Powder Blues now?
Hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, a lot of Canadians remember that. Not a lot of Americans will, but your website and your blog is pretty international, so let me give a little background. Powder Blues was a unique, charmed project. We were playing jump blues and stuff like that, but we had a couple of double platinum albums, 5 #1 hits, and it was all kind of in the style of somewhere between George Thorogood and what's the bass player? Stray Cats, somewhere in that genre with horns. People loved it. We're a great bar band with lots of energy, and people just ate that stuff up. And especially in Canada, it was just the timing was right. So I spent the first 5 years with that band, and we had really good successes throughout Europe. We played Montreux and North Sea Festival and all that stuff. And then, things changed.
Yeah, because climate's changed. I remember back then, especially Canada, there was a lot of blues, a lot of jazz coming out. It was like people were like, "Oh no, you're not from England. You're actually from Canada."
That's right, yeah.
And of course, as you said, climate's changed, music changed. How did you change when those things changed?
Well, being in Powder Blues gave me a pretty good launching pad, sort of got my recognition out there. I actually won the Techniques All-Star Band Award 2 years in a row, and that was a reader's poll sort of award. They used to do record stores and stuff. And in that All-Star Band, there was, it varied slightly from year to year, but Mo Coughlin was in there, Maynard Ferguson was in there, Neil Peart was in there, Randy Bachman was in there,
Look, you already mentioned Randy Bachman, and the thing is, you actually mentioned his name right. You didn't say Bachman, you said Bachman, so you did it right.
So anyway, that put me in good company and got my name out there, and that was a good launching pad for me to do my own original stuff. So I released my first solo album in '82, I guess it was, called Solar Winds, and you can still find that. I've got 14 albums out now, and 12 Billboard hits, and 3 Jazz Week hits. Jazz Week is the straight ahead charts. Billboard is the smooth jazz kind of chart. So I do both styles, which is kind of unheard of. And I got a song on the charts right now, as a matter of fact.
Congratulations, man. And like I said, you got 2 instruments in front of you. What are we looking at here?
Okay, well, this is a flute. Now, most horn players don't play the flute, but I do. And just because I like it. And it's very similar embouchure to the trumpet. Kind of a kiss sort of thing. A lot of sax players like the flute because the fingering's the same, but the embouchure on a sax is, you have to kind of do that. On a horn, same as the flute. Kind of a kiss sort of thing. And for me, I like that my music's always been about color and texture anyway, so I like having the sounds. I can layer it when I'm in the studio. I've got my own studio, so I can layer my sounds and put a mute in my trumpet. This is a flugelhorn, by the way.
Yes.
And I can put mute in my trumpet or whatever, so I got all these varied colors and stuff that I can overlay. So that's kind of what attracted me to all this stuff. I like the variety of sounds, right?
Well, you talked about you've got some new music out right now. Talk about that, please.
Well, I've got a new single on the charts called Litmus Test, and it's climbing up the Billboard charts as we speak right now. It'll be the 3rd single off of my most recent contemporary jazz album. Now, that album, called Tongue and Groove, was nominated for Album of the Year at the Jazz Music Awards, the first inaugural Jazz Music Awards, and that award show only happened just a few weeks back in Atlanta, and I didn't win, but it was nice to be honored with that. And this is the 3rd single off of that album, and the first single earned my 12th Billboard hit.
Oh, congratulations on that, man.
Looking for another one here, Baker's Dozen.
I love it. And of course, you are here for this music experience. That's what I'm going to call it. What's going to happen with you guys? What are you going to be doing here?
Well, we're going to do a couple of tunes of mine, and we're going to integrate African musicians, especially the drummer. One of my tunes has always been in my mind. I could hear African drums with it. So we're going to do one of my tunes like that, or maybe 2. We actually have a tune called Soweto, so we're going to try and do that today. If time permits, it seems like we're getting started kind of late here, so we'll try and do that. And then the following day, I'm performing with a guy from here who's a great singer and plays keys and stuff. His name is Thulani, and he and I have been doing stuff together in the studio, virtually back and forth. So we'll be performing with him.
Well, I was going to ask, what do you think it is that makes the, if I can use the term, African music special?
Well, it's soulful for one thing. Now here, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you may not know either, but it seems to me when reaching out to musicians here, the music school system and stuff is not really geared for music. So a lot of musicians learn because they feel it, they love it, and all that stuff. So reading music isn't a high priority and stuff because everybody plays from the heart. And when you play from the heart, that automatically brings the soulfulness into it.
You speak the truth, my friend. Look, as we wrap this up, what's going to happen with the rest of 2022? We're leading into 2023. Are we looking at a full album? Are we looking at a tour happening? Are we going to have you back in the Great White North? What's happening with you?
Well, I'll be back in Vancouver before long, and considering what airports, actually this 27-hour plane ride got me kind of off of going to airports again for a while. But touring has never been, well, touring, when I was at Powder Blues, we were touring 300 days a year for 5 years solid. And some of that was through Christmas and stuff too, so geez Louise. So I don't mind going out to tour. I mean, I prefer doing a couple of really nice dates in a month. But to go hit the road and live in hotels and airports, I don't care. I got a nice life where I live. I earned it.
And you know what? We have a lot of music from you, so we can always check all of that too, especially with your new single. My friend, I gotta say thank you so much for this interview. What a way to do this, to get a chance to meet you. It is on, for me, the other side of the world, man. Have a great time today. I know you're gonna have a great performance, and looking forward to talking to you again. Congrats.
Let me plug my website. I forgot.
Go right ahead.
Easy to remember too. GabrielJazz.com. Remember, Gabriel, the angel with a horn, and jazz, the music with so many notes.
I love it. My friend, thank you so much.
All right, thanks.